NFL Week 4 was really, really fun. I already covered 3 big games, the Rams and Cardinals, Patriots, Buccaneers, and Monday Night Football, the Raiders at LA. But there still are 8 more games I want to talk about from NFL Week 8. The noteworthy, Week 4. The noteworthy 8 from NFL Week 4. Number 1 is this. Baltimore beat Denver 23-7. And I was really excited. It was the very first time this Denver Broncos football team was going to get tested all year. And I'm like, oh boy, we're going to learn a lot. And anticipation was shattered because their starting quarterback, Teddy Bridgewater for Denver, got taken out at halftime with a concussion. Did not play the entire second half. Their backup quarterback, Drew Lock, came in. I just felt robbed. I was really sad because we missed out on learning how good Denver is. And some people say that game was evidence enough. For me, it wasn't. I consider myself like a sports mad scientist where I'd have all these theories and I'd test them out. And for me, this test was inconclusive. They're just the results. We didn't get them. And the next 3 games for Denver are at Pittsburgh, then the Raiders, and then at Cleveland. So 3 weeks from now, we will have figured out whether Denver's good or not. But this game, for me, was not enough for me to determine how good Denver is because their starting quarterback, I'm sorry, I can't judge a team when half the game their starting quarterback doesn't play. For me, I don't feel comfortable condemning a team that has a 10-point, is down, you're only down 10 points at halftime. Then your starting quarterback, Teddy Bridgewater, doesn't play the rest of the game. Your defense held Lamar Jackson to only 6 more points the rest of the game. I don't know. I really feel like we missed an opportunity here to learn about Denver because Teddy Bridgewater got hurt. And because of that, I'm just like, we'll wait and see. Lamar Jackson had a great game, by the way. He threw for over 300 yards. Interestingly enough, Lamar Jackson only ran for 28 yards. And I wonder, I need to watch the film here. I watched the game, but I didn't watch the all 22 yet. I wonder I didn't pay enough attention. Like, what did Denver do specifically that really limited Lamar Jackson from running around more? I don't know. I need to rewatch that game. I watched it like kind of highlights, and then I saw that, Teddy didn't play, and I didn't watch the rest of the game. I'm like, I watched like the first couple drives, and I'm like, what happened? And then I saw what happened. I'm like, okay, time to move on in my life and do other stuff. So I want to rewatch this game in its entirety and in the all 22 and see what exactly did Denver do to keep Lamar Jackson from running the ball more. And maybe they just played a certain coverage that allowed Lamar to want to throw all day, but usually I was really curious, like, what is Vic Fangio going to do, the Denver Broncos head coach on defense, to limit Lamar Jackson? And I'm curious if there was anything specifically he did to force Lamar to throw rather than run. Okay, game number 2, the Panthers at Dallas. The Cowboys beat the Panthers 36-28. Last week, I ranked Carolina as the worst undefeated team. And, they're now 3-1. I feel pretty good about making that statement last week. Remember how great Carolina's run defense was? They're like, they're dominating. They beat Houston and the Jets. Oh, yeah. Well, that was 3 weeks and not very good of competition. Against Dallas, Ezekiel Elliott, the Cowboys running back, ran for 143 yards and a touchdown. Again, a lot of what made Carolina 3-0, in my opinion, was the competition they played against rather than how great they are. They played against struggling teams that can't run the ball very well, so of course their run defense looked really good. Panthers quarterback Sam Darnold, I love the guy. He had 2 interceptions in the third quarter of this game. Both of them were made by Trevon Diggs. He leads the NFL with interceptions. He has 5 interceptions in 4 games. And what's crazy is, for some people, that's an entire season. So Trevon Diggs is just playing out of his mind. He's in year 2. He's a second-round corner from last year. Probably the best corner easily from the last year's NFL draft, and playing very, very well. It's funny, like, how bad Jeff Gladney got cut, and there's C.J. Henderson got traded. Like, all these first-round corners last year, bust, fail, bust. But the second-round corner, Trevon Diggs, is playing out of his mind and really, really well. So you can get a guy who's really talented, but if it doesn't work hard, like Trevon Diggs clearly works really hard, it doesn't matter. And it's just funny how that's a part of the process in the NFL draft that gets overlooked all the time, is how much does a dude love football and how much does he just want to be a dominating force in the NFL? Because you can be talented as much as you want, but if you're not going to work hard, it won't matter. Anyway, Christian McCaffrey did not play for Carolina. He's their running back. He's hurt again. That's not good. And Dak Prescott, the Dallas Cowboys quarterback, was amazing. 4 touchdowns. He had a beautiful long touchdown down the right sideline to Amari Cooper. I love watching Dak. Dak Prescott. There's something I said about Dak. I remember a couple weeks ago, I think when the Raiders beat the Ravens, I said, I made a list of all the quarterbacks I would take instead of Derek Carr. And at the time I said, hey, Dak Prescott for me is tied with Derek Carr. Well, hey, Cowboys fans, let me give you an update. In case you missed it earlier in the show, I talked about this. I would take Dak over Derek Carr in a heartbeat. What we've seen from Dak in these first 4 weeks is unbelievable. He's playing at a really high level. I love watching Dak Prescott play, and certainly I think Dak is pushing himself into the conversation for, is he a top 5 quarterback? Like, he's really just playing out of his mind. Efficient, good, smart football, really accurate, great decision-making. He's a great leader. Dak is really blowing me away. He's playing very good football, and 4 games in, I just want to give him a shout out. He's playing fantastic. Okay, game number 3, the Jets got their very first win of the year, and first win in the Robert Saleh era. They beat the Titans in overtime 27-24. It's actually kind of weird. Both New York teams won in overtime this week. Jets rookie quarterback Zach Wilson was the star of the show. This was easily Zach Wilson's best game in the NFL to date. We finally saw what I loved about him so much during the draft process. At BYU, Zach Wilson ran around really, really well, extended plays, made big-time throws downfield. We saw that for the Jets against Tennessee. He was making so many big throws downfield into tight windows. It was like, oh my God. I mean, I hope Jets fans were really like, oh my gosh, because it's going to be a career of him doing that, I believe, in the NFL. And I got to tell you, man, I really believe in Zach Wilson, the Jets' young quarterback, and Robert Saleh, their rookie head coach. They started 0-3, and everyone panicked. And I'm like, well, the Jets were a terrible football team last year. They went, they were the number 2 overall pick. Like, what did you expect in New York? Of course, the Jets were going to be bad with a new coach and a rookie quarterback and rebuilding. But Zach Wilson is going to be amazing. I really believe in him. I think the moment, if anybody saw, there's a great video of Robert Saleh post-game giving out the game ball to people and like, oh, man, it's so cool. I love it. And, they have the Titans' former receiver in this game is playing for the Jets, and that's really cool. So, I don't know. There were so many beautiful throws by Zach Wilson for the Jets in this game, and he's going to be fantastic. You just got to give the Jets and give Zach Wilson some patience. It's going to be a while before they're a fantastic, really good football team, and he's a fantastic, really good quarterback. But I truly believe the Jets are headed in the right direction. You just got to give them time and patience to figure it out. Game number 4, the Giants beat the New Orleans Saints 27-21 in overtime. Daniel Jones, the Giants quarterback, had 1 interception in this game. It came right before halftime on a Hail Mary. I just hope people don't hold that against him. It's really frustrating when people look at these interceptions and don't look at the context of them. That's a play that obviously was not a bad decision by Daniel Jones. They're trying to launch it into the end zone, get a touchdown before halftime. Not fair to hold that against him. For the day, and I don't think anybody would, but just in case, like I hate, like later this year, when you're mentioning his interception numbers, just remember one of them was a Hail Mary, and I want people to remember that. Daniel Jones for the day was 28 for 40 passing, 402 yards, 2 touchdowns. And my big takeaway from this game is that I would build around Daniel Jones. Quarterback it's not only not the biggest problem the Giants have, it's also not a problem at all for the New York Giants. Daniel Jones is playing very, very well. And I going into the year was highly, highly skeptical of Daniel Jones. And I think that was fair. But Daniel Jones, the more I watch of him this year, I'm like, he's getting better and better and playing really good football. And I just think if you're a person who still thinks Daniel Jones is a problem in New York, you're just wrong. He's playing high-level football, and you have to acknowledge that. Even me, I am someone who have said many, many negative things about Daniel Jones. I'm pretty sure if I think back to my prediction, that's part of why I have the Giants doing so bad this year. That and the offensive line. But look, Daniel Jones playing out of his mind, really, really good football. John Ross is another storyline that was very, very cool if you're a Giants fan. In his first ever game with the New York Giants, he had a long 52-yard touchdown catch. He was the number 9 overall pick in 2017 going to Cincinnati. He was a bust in Cincinnati. He's been really bad and not worked out. And so It's cool to see him already in one game with New York make an impact, and hope he can stay healthy. And I really hope that the Giants can continue to use his speed and use him as a vertical deep threat, because he has the ability. John Ross and Henry Ruggs are very, very similar. If you can just keep John Ross healthy and get him on the field, I think there's a really big opportunity here, a lot of potential. You just got to see if you can keep John Ross healthy and on the field. Okay, number 5. Kansas City beat the Eagles 42-30 in Philly. Chiefs head coach Andy Reid beat his old team at their house. Good for him. Tyreek Hill had 11 catches for 186 yards and 3 touchdowns. Patrick Mahomes threw 5 touchdown passes. Here's what I want. If you're an Eagles fan, do not blame your young quarterback Jalen Hurts for this game, or last week either. Philadelphia's defense has given up 40 points 2 weeks in a row. So that's why you're 1-3. No matter, I don't care what your argument is, nothing is valid to blame your quarterback when your defense gives up 40 or more points 2 weeks in a row. That's on the defense being terrible, not on Jalen Hurts not making enough plays. I'm a believer in Jalen Hurts. Give him time. Stop blaming the wrong factors. You're angry, I get it, but I'm sorry, Jalen Hurts isn't the problem in Philadelphia. Number 6, the Packers beat the Steelers 27-17. Green Bay is great. We already knew that. It's not a surprise. They're 3-1. They had a bad game week 1. They're undefeated since then. Now, Pittsburgh, though, I was surprised. The Pittsburgh Steelers did not lose by as much as I expected them to lose by. Their defense is keeping them in games. You got to watch Pittsburgh. They're 1-3, but they are a better 1-3 than most other teams. Remember, I think, in my opinion, the 3 best teams that have one win right now are the New England Patriots, the Indianapolis Colts, and the Pittsburgh Steelers. And what that means really is not that the Steelers are going to have a great year and be really good, but if you're a fan of the other 31 teams in the NFL, if your team plays Pittsburgh, do not relax, because that is not an easy win. If Big Ben plays solid football, the defense plays great, Pittsburgh can beat you. And every week, Pittsburgh is one of these teams that is not going to be outstanding, but they're definitely a team that can break someone's heart and steal a game or two from good teams. And I'm not as down on Pittsburgh as other people are. I'm also not like saying they're a playoff team. They're just a team that is going to beat a team or two this year and cause some problems for other, I think, better NFL teams. Number 7, the Bears beat the Lions 24-14. What a weird situation we have going on in Chicago. Remember all the panic last week? Justin Fields has this terrible week and they get obliterated by Cleveland. And then this week, Justin Fields plays really good and he's the starting quarterback against Detroit and has a great game. And I'm sitting at home going like, I really wish this had been the first game for Justin Fields, because I thought throwing him to the Wolves against Cleveland was not quite fair. And then apparently we get the news that Andy Dalton is still going to be the starting quarterback in Chicago, even when Justin Fields is healthy. And I'm like, I just don't understand. I'm so confused. I don't know. I wish that this had been Justin's first ever game in the NFL. He was 11 for 17 passing, had 209 yards, 1 interception, but pretty good day overall, good enough to win. The weirdest thing, though, is that in this game, Justin Fields only ran the ball 3 times for 9 yards. And I'm like, why are we not? If you're the Bears, like, why are you not running the ball with your quarterback, Justin Fields? Like, why did you draft him if you're not going to utilize his ability to run the ball? I don't understand that part of it. Darryl Mooney had 5 catches for 125 yards. Lions quarterback Jared Goff is the reason why the Lions lost. It's embarrassing. Jared Goff had 2 ugly fumbles, both of them on the goal line. And Jared Goff right now, he's really hurting his team. And if you're a Lions fan, you're like, yep, okay, we gave him a chance. 4 games. Clearly Jared Goff ain't it, and we're going to have to draft a quarterback this year. In my opinion, you're like, you already know he's got potential, but Jared Goff is a backup quarterback in the league. He can play occasional good football. He can never put together an entire good game, and we've seen that in Detroit. Jared Goff has been the problem week in and week out, causing his team to lose football games. It's really infuriating. They're 0-4, and 95% of why the Lions are 0-4 is because Jared Goff keeps getting in his own way and shooting himself in the foot. And number 8, Seattle beat the 49ers 28-21. 49ers quarterback Jimmy Garoppolo got hurt Did not play the entire second half. I have a conspiracy theory here. Sometimes in football, when you want to bench a quarterback but you don't want to embarrass them, they get, quote, injured. And I'm not saying that's what happened to Jimmy Garoppolo. I'm not saying that's not what happened to Jimmy Garoppolo, because I watched Trey Lance, the 49ers' young rookie quarterback, and he was better than Jimmy Garoppolo in my mind. That's controversial. I don't really care. It's my opinion, my show. I would not be surprised if the 49ers started Trey Lance next week. I think it's very possible. Jimmy Garoppolo is still, quote, hurt, and he's out, and he, quote, can't come back. And, the 49ers play Arizona next week. And whether he's healthy or not, Jimmy Garoppolo, I don't care, is not the guy who's going to lead the 49ers to victory over a really good Cardinals team. Maybe Trey Lance could. If I'm the 49ers, I want my dynamic athlete quarterback playing against the Cardinals. You're trying to beat Kyler Murray, this juggernaut at quarterback. And I'm sorry, Jimmy Garoppolo's not going to beat the Cardinals next week. Maybe Trey Lance can. Now, Russell Wilson was ridiculous in this game. Russell Wilson, as always, is unbelievable. I talked about going into this game. Can Russell Wilson carry his team to victory over a better football team? Yep. Yes, he can. We learned that. They won 28-21. Russell Wilson had a crazy touchdown in this game where he was getting sacked. He spun out of the sack, finds a way to extend a play, throws a touchdown pass to Freddie Swain in the corner of the end zone, and you're like, if you're a 49er fan, you're probably so disappointed. You're sitting there like, we had a sack, we had him down, doesn't matter. That's Russell Wilson being Russell Wilson. He's unbelievable. And it was a really fun game. My only wish was that I wish Trey Lance had played all game for the 49ers. What would have happened if the 49ers' better quarterback had played the entire game rather than just the second half? I don't know. Actually, I do know. I think it would have been a better game. Would the 49ers have won? I don't know. It would have been more interesting at the end. And just keep your eye on this. This could be the end of the Jimmy Garoppolo era. Like, as of yesterday, we'll see. But I just think that the 49ers are better off playing Trey Lance at this point. And I don't know why. To go back to Jimmy Garoppolo feels like a step backwards, the same way that the Bears going back to Andy Dalton feels like a step backwards. It's weird. I don't get it, and I'm perplexed by things going on in Chicago. And if Jimmy Garoppolo is the starting quarterback next week for the 49ers, it's like either they're trying to protect Trey Lance from having a bad game against a good football team, the Arizona Cardinals, or I can't think of any other reason to play Jimmy Garoppolo instead of Trey Lance. I would. I just think Trey Lance is the better quarterback, gives you a better chance to win. And if I'm the 49ers, I'm playing Trey Lance next week at quarterback.